Hi, I'm Joseph, and this is the review of the XP Pen Deco 01 V2. Before we begin this review, I do want to note there's a reason why I would choose a pen tablet over a pen display today. Pen tablets give you the ergonomics versus a pen display, and while pen displays are dropping rapidly in price, it's still a much harder purchase to do than a pen tablet itself. So here you'll see my setup. It's where my keyboard would be, it's angled at a natural position for my arm to rest, and my keyboards are right next to it with my mouse on the other side. This lets me sit at a natural position with my neck looking straight ahead. This way I'm not having my neck in an awkward position or having my back hunched over onto my desk. Why any of this is important is because I have congenital spinal stenosis. People in their 60s, 70s, and 80s will usually already experience this, but I've had it since birth, hence congenital. And so as I'm getting older, it's important to keep proper posture and form when drawing. Now, to give some context, I had a Huion H320M that broke, and it's my fault, not Huion's at all. And this was a replacement for it. I didn't choose another Huion product specifically for two reasons of this XP Pen product, which I'll go over shortly. In the box, you get the tablet itself with a batteryless pen and a little stand for it. Inside that little stand, you can twist it and open, and there's like little slots for like 8 nibs that you put in there, which you get in the package itself. I think there's like 9 nibs actually. I got in my little package. And there is a USB-C cable, which is nice because it's less likely to break over a micro USB cable. And then just the standard instructions and stuff like that. Oh yes, the pill. It's always the best. There is the protector that I forgot to bring up here, and this is the primary reasons, or one of the primary reasons why I wanted this tablet to begin with. It lets you protect the surface of your tablet while you're drawing on it. To give some context, I had my son draw on a previous tablet I had, not the Huion, but one before that, and he demolished the surface, leaves dark grooves and scratches all over it. So having that little piece of plastic is a huge peace of mind when even letting a kid interact with this. They're not going to be scratching the surface of your tablet because they can be drawing on top of this little plastic piece. And also there is two sides to this. Now, unfortunately, the one with the white strip is intended for an adhesive. So the gray strip goes up as the top piece, and then you peel off the white strip and you adhere it to the actually surface itself. You don't obviously need to use that, but to know that that is there and it can be replaced fairly cheaply. I bought, I think, 2 additional ones just in case for like $15, so $7 each. It's a very nice addition here. The second major reason why I purchased this was specifically for Android supports. On Android, and with Huion, you only use a partial portion of the actual drawing surface you have available to you. This means you're spending more time to zoom in, rotating the canvas, zooming back out to get the effect that you want. Now, in XP Pen's case, you actually get to use the entire canvas. You rotate it in portrait mode. And many apps actually don't work in landscape, so you're stuck using portrait mode anyways. It's this that lets you be able to draw without having to zoom in as much and zoom out as much, and be able to kind of get the drawing effects that you want, as it's much easier to draw on a bigger surface on a smaller screen than it is to draw on a smaller surface on a bigger screen. I'm one to focus on the stats. I look at the pen pressure, tilt support, battery assist, or if it needs battery, what kind of batteries does it take, how big is the tablet size. And I would always think like the bigger these numbers, the better it's going to be. And as I've used tablets over the years, the reality is that you can make use of virtually any tablet given the right software. Most of these softwares let you fine-tune pen pressure sensitivity. Now, this tablet supports 8,000 levels of pen pressure, and the only thing that really makes sense for that is when you're just starting out, you're never going to use the full range of pen pressure. You're only going to be able to leverage maybe, a fourth at max of the pen pressure. And so having that extra, thousands of pressure sensitivity lets you be able to kind of still maneuver between those pressure points and have the pen pressure that you want let's say you're inking or you're sketching, that you're going to be able to get those effects with that extra pen pressure. And like I said, they're mostly all the same. They all have 8,000. They all have tilt and 60 around degree support for tilt. They're mostly batteryless at this point. It's just the actual tablet size itself. And I'll take a minute to talk about that. When I started out with the graphics tablet, smaller was actually better. It was very hard for me to just loosely draw shapes with my elbow and my shoulder, which is the preferred method because it gives you kind of the less stressful way on your body. And it took months and months to finally get to that. And this was already after years of being able to have that really fine-grained, delicate touch when drawing on paper and pen. It's a very different experience. And so while this is kind of like tokenized as the best starting tablet, 1 for its durability, 2 for its price range, and 3 because of what it just offers in general, it is still something to think about when you're just starting out. You may not need a $60 tablet. You can probably go cheaper. And the features that is here is actually in the Star versions of XP Pen as well. So if you look at like Star 04 and 06, they both actually have the same type of screen protector or tablet surface protector that the Deco 01 V2 has. The one thing I feel that Huion has over XP Pen for their tablets is drivers for Windows. When I installed the XP Pen driver, it enabled Windows Ink, which actually didn't let me use the tablet for anything other than applications that were Windows Ink enabled. And so I immediately thought this was broken, and all I needed to do was just go to the driver configuration software and disable Windows Ink, and then I could use it as is. I didn't have a problem. I'm not sure why it's enabled by default, but it just didn't work on my Windows machine. Now, I am a software developer, so I use Linux, Mac, and Windows, and I installed this for Linux, and it was even simpler than Windows in regards to just plug and play, run a install script. I did have to sudo and provide my password for sudo. It should prompt that, but it doesn't. And install. I didn't even need to restart my computer. I just unplugged it and replugged it in, and it worked. Now, there is a little bit of a difference in how Linux and Windows works for this driver. For Windows and Mac, you get application-specific support. So if you wanted different shortcut keys for the little buttons on the side of this tablet, you can have that happen. But for Linux, it's just one set. And to be honest, I'm using a keyboard most of the time, so these buttons aren't really used much at all. When it comes to the pen, this is one area that is also a personal preference of mine. I prefer the Huion pens. They're more elongated, the tip is much more further back than it is with the buttons, and it kind of fits my larger hand and my drawing style. I'm not so choked up on my pen where I need the buttons so close to the nib. So if you're a person who still is used to drawing very choked up on your pen, the XP Pen's just fine. Now, I have gotten used to it already. It's only been a couple days, and I've had no problems adjusting to this type of pen. It's not a showstopper in any way. It's just a comfort. The buttons of the pen are another story. There are little divots or dimples in each side of the buttons, and I can't feel them, so I don't know when I'm in the middle, front, or back of the pen until I reach the edges of them. And because the buttons are much closer to the tip than a Huion, I accidentally trigger the, first button, the closest to the tip, far too often. So I end up just disabling that button, and then I use the right or the furthest back button because I can just have my finger feel towards the end of the buttons and trigger it that way. I use that for like just switching between pen and eraser and stuff like that. I've talked about durability a little bit, but I can't iterate this enough for a beginner's tablet. The fact that it has USB-C gives a whole world of durability to just the cord itself and the tablet. Micro USBs have been notorious for being ripped and torn and easily breaks over the years. The port becomes loose and so on. So having USB-C as the standard for these tablets moving forward is critical. The screen protector or the surface protector is another that's incredibly important. Because it's a piece of plastic, you can put a lot of other things on top of it. You can put even paper. If you really do want that paper filling, just put a sheet of paper over that, tape the edges, and you don't need to worry about the tape damaging the surface of your tablet. You can draw as hard or as soft as you want. The surface of that protector may not be ideal, but the fact that you can change it is actually quite nice. So this is the finished art piece that I worked on with the XP Pen Deco 01 V2, and that is a mouthful. Overall, I'm very happy with my purchase, and I can't wait for the many years down the line that will be continued to be used. Pen tablets over pen displays, for me, offer ergonomics that I can't ever get hunched over on a monitor trying to look down and draw. I can have my wrist at a certain angle. I can have my back straight and my shoulders where they need to be without having to worry about if I'm going to be hurting myself in the next 2 hours. I can leverage my elbows and my shoulders and not have to worry about if my wrist is going to be tired. I am getting older and these things are important. I still do like pen displays. They're great for maybe doing a quick sketch, but for kind of more long-term work, I do prefer a graphics tablet. So in the end, this is a yes, this is a buy, it's my recommendation. I wholeheartedly believe that the price, the durability, and the feature sets quantify the $60 price tag that I paid for it. If you have that money laying around and you're looking for a graphics tablet, then yes, definitely buy this. Now, if you need something cheaper, try looking at the Starlines or some other of the XP pens that they offer. And there's always manufacturers that are competing on all these different little size ranges and price points for your eyeballs and your money. So just, don't be afraid to look around, but this is one that really caught my eye. And considering all the other reviews that are going around about this product, it was just one I could not pass up.